What do you think? Does it work? Yeah, no, sorry, buddy. Yeah, Barry, it works better on Barry. All right, hey everybody, how you doing? It's been a 2-week break, and there was some technical issues leading up into this video, so let's just dive right in. Let's do it. Get it? Dive right in. See what I did there? Because Odin is forced to jump into a giant pot of boiling oil in this chapter. The topical humor just bellows from me, right? Okay, so this will be One Piece chapter 971, titled Condemned to Boil. Also because his name is Odin, and we just keep on rolling with it. He was born into this world with an Oden pun. He will die with an Oden pun, alright? I'm sure as soon as he was born, Sukiyaki looked down at his son, and, he was eating Odin at the time, and, whoever Odin's mom was. I guess we never did find out about Odin's mom, did we? Huh. I mean, I guess not important, I guess we don't need to know, but, considering all the crazy stuff Odin is capable of, I want to know the genetics here. Like his dad, Sukiyaki, we never really got any crazy feats from Sukiyaki. All Sukiyaki did was basically get sick and die, or get poisoned and die, whatever, same difference really, right, Orochi? But, yeah, so Odin's mom gives birth to Odin, and Sukiyaki's like chomping down on Odin at the time, just like, well, I'll name him Odin. And now here he is, being dunked in a giant pot like much Odin. Okay, so cover page, not really much to talk about. Goaty is back on the scene, running after Chiffon. Yeah, you go, Goaty. You go save your boss's wife. Okay, that's all there is to it, really, there. Vito and Beiji are indisposed at the moment, so we'll see. Alright, so it is now the day of the execution, and a lot of stuff is going down here, okay? First, we cut over to the Kuri region at Odin Castle. We still have Toki there, who's pretty chill, just saying. It's the day where her husband is supposed to be executed in a giant vat of boiling oil. She seems pretty chill with that. Momo and Hiyori are there. Momo is about to eat his lunch, however, one of the vassals, or there's the butlers of the Kozuki clan. I actually think it's the same dude at the beginning of this whole flashback that was meeting with Sukiyaki. Remember that dude? I think I called him Chives. That's a Drake and Josh reference if anybody caught that. But no, he was reading off all of the accomplishments that Odin did. As soon as he was born, he flung his wet nurse across the wall, and then he captured 2 rabbits, doing all that crazy stuff. I think it's the same dude, and he's there, and he's a taste tester. He's the poison taster to make sure if anyone wants to, poison Momo or Hiyori's meals so they die. And so he tastes it and he's like, no, it's fine, Lord Momo, here you go. And so Momo starts eating it, and he asks Toki, Mom, why would people be trying to kill me? Keep in mind, Momo is 8 years old here, and Hiyori's only 6, okay? So they're raised in Wano with the traditions and all that stuff, but they still don't really understand the full weight of, all this, political skirmishes going on right now and everything. And so Toki has to explain that, Momo, one day you are going to lead this country. One day you are going to be the shogun. And there's people that might want to try to take that away from you. You have to be very cautious, so to speak. Momo begins to cry because they're aware. I was wondering about that. Do the children know about the execution date and all that stuff? Momo clearly seems to, if he doesn't know, someone directly told him, Momo, today is the day where your dad is going to be dunked in a giant vat of boiling oil, screaming bloody murder as he slowly just shrivels up and dies. I don't think anybody actually sat Momo down and told that, but maybe Momo overheard, or I'm sure being Orochi, he probably, managed to send out, town criers or whatever the feudal Japan equivalent is to all regions of Wano. Hear ye, idiot Lord Odin about to be executed in a giant vat of boiling oil. It's at 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Get your tickets here, everyone! So I'm sure, if Orochi did that, Momo found out. Momo starts to cry. He's like, Mom, is Dad really gonna... And he starts crying, and then Hiyori is off to the side. She's even younger, and she doesn't even really understand. Hiyori's just like, brother, why are you crying? So it's a very sad moment. So we cut back over to the Flower Capital, where we see the execution grounds. I'll be honest with you. Barry, I don't know about you. I'm not sure a lot about a lot of you. Who else thought it was gonna be boiling water? Hands raised, I'm up there, okay? I don't think it was ever mentioned what substance it was. I guess I'd have to go back to Zoe and check, but I always assumed just boiling water, and I thought to myself, Odin's been through a lot worse stuff than boiling water, right? He'll be okay. But then I start to think, wait, there's a lot worse substances that you could be dunked in at boiling temperature than just water, right? I mean, that's true. So, it's oil. Now, what kind of oil? I don't know. I mean, Orochi, you know, he might just go with the classic olive oil. Personally, whenever I'm cooking, I use avocado oil. It's delicious. Or, considering we're talking about high heat here, grapeseed oil. This stuff is 10 billion% like heat resistant. Not really, but it has a really, really high smoke point. So I usually end up cooking with grapeseed if I can, you know, manage it. It's kind of hard to get your hands on, though, around this area. But anyway, so I don't know what kind of oil it is. Orochi seems kind of like a cheapskate to me, so maybe he'll just use like some like really cheap dollar store vegetable oil or whatever. But they threw oil in there, and it's boiling, and it's going, and everyone's gathering around like, hey, we gotta get over here, Meredith. Come on, get a spot. We gotta see Odin get, you know, executed and everything. Because everybody in Wano still considers him the idiot lord. Remember, the citizens of Wano were not there to witness his like final stand against Kaido in the Udon region, okay? That happened out in the middle of the jungle, now a wasteland, but previously a jungle, so the citizens weren't there to witness it. All they heard about it was after the fact, you know, after, you know, Odin lost and all the scabbards were arrested. Probably Orochi was just like, yeah, dumbass Odin tried to raise an uprising, he got squashed like a bug, and so all the citizens were like, we actually thought he was kinda strong, right? But this is the moment which is the true hour of legends, because it's like literally an hour, okay? So here's what happens, basically. Odin steps on the plank, he's like, you know, walk the plank, Odin. It's a story about pirates. I think this is the first time anybody's actually had to walk the plank. And in this case, it's actually in feudal Japan, not on a pirate ship. But okay, Odin has to walk the plank out to this giant cauldron of oil. The guy that was leading Odin, I really feel bad for this guy. I'm sure he was working for Orochi and he was a total dipshit and everything, but I feel bad for this dude. He's like carrying Odin. Odin goes back to talk to Kaido and he's like, hey, what are you doing, Odin? Get in the pot. And he accidentally, like a freaking idiot, he slips on the oil that's on the platform, because I guess some of the oils, you know, you ever cook with oil, it splatters up everywhere, okay? So imagine this thing's popping off oil everywhere. He slips on it, and he falls into the damn cauldron. Give this man the Darwin Award. I feel bad for him. Like, all right, Bill, your job is to lead Odin off into the cauldron. And you know, Bill, he was sitting there all day, and he's just like, wait, hold on, do I have something that I can, yeah, I could use this axe. Hold on, excuse me, Nami. I keep an axe behind Nami's, face at all times. But you know, he has the little staff thing. He's leading Odin to the cauldron, and he's saying to himself, he's like, Bill, okay, this is your chance to shine, Bill. Lord Orochi trusts you, Bill. Kaido's watching, all of the countrymen are watching. You're gonna be the one to lead Kozuki Odin to execution. Just don't screw this up, don't screw this up, don't screw this up. Hey, where are you going? No! You had one job, Bill. Avoid the giant pot of freaking boiling oil. So I feel bad for him, but I also am going to laugh at his expense. So he falls into the oil. Just basically, Oda did that just to show us what will happen to a normal human being when they fall into that shit. He falls into the oil, and he's immediately like, ah! Like he's going Super Saiyan 7 or some shit. He's like, oh my god, it burns! Somebody help me, please! And everyone's like, oh! And so he manages to get to the edge of the cauldron and jump out. He's like, oh my god, I'm on fire! And he just collapses in the middle of the street, and he's just like a mummified corpse. But deep fried to deliciousness, but a mummified corpse. And he just falls, and he's just smoldering on the ground, and everyone's like... And the thing that I love about this the most, because I'm a horrible human being, is, no, there's really no transition between this guy getting deep fried to death and then Odin continuing his conversation with Kaido. It's freaking great. So that's what happens, where the guy jumps into the pot, he falls into the pot, gets out, dies, and then Odin just like, oh my god, I'm on fire! Okay, yeah, Kaido, so if you just pick the time and I'll stay in the pot as long as you want. Like, it's like, oh, that was a minor inconvenience. That was hold on, we'll wait until the guy stops screaming before I set the time. Hold on there. So, here's what my proposal is to you guys. This is what Odin says. At least I want you to give me a chance. So, I want you to say whatever time you want me to stay in the oil, like however long you want me to stay submerged in the boiling oil. and if I can manage to survive that long and get out, then you'll let me go. Once again, you're kind of giving Kaido and Orochi a lot of, honor here, Odin. Like, you know, they're not loyal samurai that are like, yes, Odin, we are loyal samurai. We will obey, we will take our word, and, you know, you will be able to rest assured that you will be able to leave because we said so. Like, no, like, that's clearly not how they are, and we find out that later in this chapter, kind of. But, anyway, Kaido is just like, whoa, all right then, how about an hour? And I'm thinking, okay, this whole thing could have been ended, because Kaido could have been a real dick here, let's be straight up. Now, yeah, an hour submerged in boiling oil. Like, that'll kill anything, right? But, maybe not a tardigrade. Tardigrades are really resistant. But, like, in any other circumstances, that would be it right there. But Kaido could have said something truly ridiculous. Like, Odin could have been like, you know, please, just give me a chance, Kaido. I'll stay in there however long you want. Kaido's just like, all right, tell you what, I'll agree to that. And Odin's like, yeah, you will? Yeah, stay in for 10 years. Now get on it! Get to it! So, I could have did something like that, right? But no, Kaido at least suggested a reasonable amount of time. I mean, at least for Odin, it's somewhat reasonable, okay? He could have said something ridiculous, like, 100 years, now get in there, right? But no, so they agree on an hour. That's even longer than, like a regular bath. I mean, if you were in a bath for an hour, a hot bath, you'd start to feel kind of woozy and dizzy. So if you could stay an hour with your scabbards in the pot, then I'll let you go. Once again, I'm not, because I'm Kaido, and you know how I am, but, you know, at least it gives you one last If anything else, I'm sure they just agreed to that because they're like, oh, okay, so we'll have a little bit of last-minute entertainment. You know, it's like, oh, it's that little glimmer of hope in your eyes that you think you're going to make it out of this alive. There's some way you can manage to escape your execution. That's what's going to make today so entertaining for Orochi and Kaido, right? All right, so Kaido asks, you know, oh, bring me a clock. And he's like, all right, Lord Kaito, the finest clock in the land. It's like, all right, so, hold on a second, I'm just gonna put a clock on your head, Barry. Oh, there, that works. Okay, cool. So, wait. Yeah, I like that. All right, okay, cool. So, they make the agreement, and they don't shake on it or anything, but they're like, all right, an hour, you got an hour. They put the clock, they click it, and Odin jumps into the pot, and kind of the same deal with the other dude. His entire body just erupts in flames. I don't know, how are they gonna animate this? This is kind of grisly stuff here, right? Yeah, if he just jumps in, he just like, ah! You know, his whole body just erupts in flames, but he's manages to, like, maintain his composure, right? He's not getting all shriveled up and stuff, right? So he's in the oil, and then he grabs a wooden plank, a giant wooden plank. I'm not really sure. I guess it's the plank that they use to walk on, I guess. And so the other scabbards are on the plank. Odin picks it up and literally holds a plank of wood with every single member of his scabbards on it. So that includes, like, the big guys, like Ashura Doji and Neko Mamushi and Inuarashi. Like, hoisting up Okiku and Kinemon and Raizo, probably not a big deal, but, you know, Ashura Doji's a big boy! And you know, he's probably up there thinking to himself, like, oh, crap. Like, no one's saying anything because everyone is just blown away by this sheer feat of strength that Odin is displaying, of course. But you know, Ashura Doji was sitting there and he's like, oh man, I wish I didn't ask for Twinkies for my last meal. Part of this might be my fault. Sorry, Odin. Sorry, man. So, yeah, this is the Hour of Legends right here, where Odin is literally standing in a giant cauldron of boiling oil, and we actually get to see it, his bare feet touching the bottom of this cast iron cauldron, boiling oil, holding a giant plank of wood, which is heavy enough in its own right, but then holding his 9 scabbards on top of it. All right, well, one of which is Ashura Doji. I'm sorry to keep bagging on Ashura Doji, but he's a big guy. So it's like, okay, now the Hour of Legends begins. How long do we have left? It's only been 40 seconds, Odin. Okay, gotcha. Wonder what Osuru is up to right now. So anyway, yeah. Now, you might think this is something truly incredible. Like, all of the citizens are like, oh, this is truly incredible. But no, I mean, some of the citizens are, but some of the citizens are actually kind of bored by it. They're like, man, I got stuff to do today. I got errands to run. Come on, Odin, let's hurry this crap up here. Like, come on, man. Like, this is like a feat of, like, true power and wonder. Like, if I was there to witness this, even if I was against Odin, even if I was like, I believed everything Orochi told me, I would be like, man, this is a freaking superhero here right now. This guy's a superhero or a demigod. Like, this is literally Heracles standing here right now. In fact, I don't think Heracles ever had to stand in a giant pot of boiling oil for one of his labors. He might had to have. But my point is, like, this is incredible, and I want you to freaking acknowledge it, people. But I mean, some people are just like, oh man, this is boring. I thought this was gonna be done, like, immediately. They mean us to stand around here for a freaking hour? I gotta go make dinner tonight, like, so whatever. Anyway, 4 minutes eventually pass. Odin is still there. We get to see a few other scenes. We get to see the Oniwaban, the younger variants of the Oniwaban. We see Fuku Rokuju there, a little bit younger. His forehead's not quite as large yet. We see Hanzo, the ninja, that new Shinobu. All of the members, about 4 minutes pass, and all the scabbards on the plank. Now, keep in mind, they're not actually touching the oil, but they're still on top of a giant boiling vat of oil. So it's pretty hot, especially the smoke and the steam. And like I said, the oil kind of splurting out everywhere. It's still really hot on top of the plank. And Raizo is complaining. He's like, oh man, it's so hot, I might pass out. Nekomamushi's like, I want to hear, you open your mouth again, Raizo, I'm gonna smack your freaking jaw. Okay, because literally Odin right now is inside of the crap, holding us up. I don't want to hear it. If you pass out from, like, heat exhaustion or whatever, or, whatever, I don't care. You'll probably still live. Odin is the one we end the series we worry about. And Nekomamushi's like, Raizo, I'm gonna hit you. And everyone else is like, quit moving! Alright? Literally every movement we make is gonna, like, jostle it even further. We cut down to Odin, his veins are beginning to, like, pop and explode. His blood is now, like, just boiling. Oh god, I guess that would be... Okay, yeah, just by law of thermodynamics, I guess, I don't know much about physics, but if Odin is in a giant pot of boiling oil for long enough, wouldn't that eventually boil his blood as well? And he's just so tough that he's, like, enduring it. Like, his blood is literally boiling and is popping his veins and his arteries. He's like, I'm still doing it! Yeah, I guess it would, right? I mean, your blood is a fluid. You're in a boiling vat of... I don't know why I'm trying to bring realism into this, because anybody else would have been dead within the first 5 seconds. I'm just saying, okay. Just keep that in mind. We even get close-ups of his feet touching the bottom of the cauldron, and I'm like, oh god, Oda! Oh, you're making this rough. Alright, so yeah, people are still bored, and at this point, Shinobu is watching. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention before we get into that, because the whole thing with Shinobu kind of leads into the whole end of the chapter, and really Odin's meaning behind dancing. One thing I was going to bring up was, when Odin pulls the plank and gets everybody on top of it, Orochi's like, hey, wait a second! You said everybody that stays in the pot is the one that gets freed, but they're not even in the pot! They're on a giant plank above the pot! And Kaido was basically like, well, they're all in the pot, I guess, so I guess it's cool. And because, Orochi obviously has no power, honestly. I mean, it all comes down to Kaido. Honestly, that's the one that's backing him and everything. Orochi kind of agrees. But I'm finding it funny, because they could literally just, like, even if Odin managed to make it out after an hour, Orochi could be like, yeah, that was all good and everything, but you technically weren't under the... Your scabbards weren't technically in the oil, so... and they could easily do that, and they have all the power to do that, so I'm still confused on where this is going. But, anyway, so they agree to it and everything, and then, okay, so Shinobu, alright? Shinobu has finally had enough. She's been in the crowd probably keeping her, her mouth shut, because, she's kind of not in really good graces with Orochi or the Oniwabanshu anyway, but she finally has had enough of, like, all the random peasants being like, man, I wish he would hurry up and just die. And then all of a sudden, Shinobu just, like, smacks attacks people in the crowd. She pulls out her katana. She starts whipping that around and pointing it at people. And just like, you're the one that are all idiots. You're the ones that don't care about this country. So we find out here, Shinobu just goes on ranting about the issue with the meeting between Odin and Kaito. Okay, so this goes back into a flashback 5 years ago when Odin first went to go cut down Orochi, and then Seimaru used the barrier fruit, and then Orochi was talking to Odin through the barrier, okay? This is what he was saying, okay? Orochi is not interested. I'm not interested in being a ruler or even a dictator. The people of this country, they ruined my family. My father, my grandfather had to commit seppuku. My grandfather and everyone was ruined. My family, my brothers, my sisters. I don't know if he had brothers or sisters, but if they did, they were probably ostracized as well. The point is that because of what his grandfather tried to do, execute or, like, you know, kill the daimyo to get the position of shogun, the Kurozumi clan was dropped from grace, and like everybody in the country went on like Kurozumi hunts, where it's just like, oh, that's a Kurozumi. It doesn't even matter if it's a child or what. And so Orochi remembers being a little kid and just hiding, because anytime they found out he was a Kurozumi, they would chase after him, even if he was a little kid. And so Orochi is so vindictive about this. He just wants revenge on the entirety of Wano. He even says, I am not interested in ruling this country. I am not interested in, you know, but I just want the people of this country to suffer. I became the shogun of Wano to bring Wano to ruin. I'm just like an agency of destruction at this point, and I guess I'm just gonna have as much fun along the way as I can. But Orochi, he wants it to be like a slow death. Because if he really wanted to, he could have just told Kaido to just bomb the crap out of it, or like Boro breath the entire island, or he could have done that, you know. But no, he wants it to be like a slow decline. Like, he wants to like strangle all of the traditions and the honor and the samurai out of the country and pollute the land and just destroy it as much as he possibly can from every single angle, and then only then will he be happy. I imagine it's because he still wants a place to live. So I'm figuring, like, Orochi, you might say, well, like, why does Orochi want to ruin the island? Like, what's he going to do after the island is ruined? You know, he has nowhere to live. He just ruined it. It's paradise and he ruined it. Here's what I think Orochi really wants to do in the long game. I think Orochi just wants to, like, all right, I'm going to ruin the entire country. I'm going to keep the flower capital nice because I have to live there. And I'm going to live out the rest of my days on, like, you know, living off of the corpses of the Kozuki clan, basically, and what they established. And just, no! Oh, okay, it's just the clock. I was going to knock down Barry there for a second. But anyway, yeah. He's just going to do all that. Yeah. And when Orochi finally gets to the point where he's going to die, when he's on his deathbed and he's elderly and he's like, well, it looks like that's everything I wanted to do. Lord Orochi, what do we want? What do you want? What are your wishes for the country? And he's like, oh, I know. Just push that button over there after I die. And that'll solve everything. And then, like, after he dies, he just end it. Just burn the entire country to the ground. Because I'm dead at this point. I lived out my life. I got my revenge. And as my last wish on this planet, I want all of Wano to burn to the ground. That probably makes a lot sense, like, why he's still living there and everything. He's obviously awash in luxury. But that's only until he's not gonna, there's not going to be any shoguns after Orochi, as long as he could help it, right? So that's his basic goal there. And that's what he's telling Odin. We also learn that Orochi at this point, in order to get his revenge on all the people of Wano, because in his mind, everybody's guilty. Doesn't matter if they were alive during his grandfather's time, because the way he looks at it, he's like, even after my grandfather was long dead, people still chased after me and I did nothing wrong. So I don't care. Even if that person, that 10-year-old kid over there that was born long after my grandfather was ostracized, I don't care. He's just as guilty as everybody else is. So Orochi starts rounding up all the people randomly at Wano, like 100 people, and starts, you know, sending them off to Onigashima for a tribute to Kaido. And he's like, you know what? Once they get out there, you can have fun with them, you can torture them, you can enslave them, or you can just kill them, Kaido. I don't care what you do, just take them. He also sends off weapons and things to Onigashima as well. So that's the situation. We also get a panel of Odin clashing with Kaido. Remember back a few chapters ago, we saw the dragon over the capital. That's when, like, Kaido arrived, and he did clash with Odin a little bit there. But they realized that that wasn't going to work at that particular instance because Orochi had all these people kidnapped. And so that's where the deal arose between the dances and Orochi, Odin dancing and Orochi, where Orochi's deal, listen to this, and tell me if this is not 100% believable. Orochi's like, okay, Lord Odin, I'll tell you what. If you dance naked in the capital every single week, then I'll let 100 people go free every time you dance. And after about 5 years or so, me and Kaito will finish building our ships and we'll leave Wano forever. And Odin actually accepted the deal. Oh, God. Yeah, because this looks like a guy you can trust, right? The guy that literally just finished explaining that I do not want to rule over this country. My literal purpose here is to just destroy and ruin this country and everybody on it. Just my bottomless well of revenge. But I'll make a deal with you that we'll just leave. Now, here's the thing. Okay, so that was the deal, and we know what happens from there. Odin takes the deal. He's like, are you sure? Orochi's like, absolutely. And Odin's like, all right. And so Odin leaves. He comes back every week. He dances in the nude and everything. Everyone thinks he's an idiot, of course. And apparently, at least where it was concerned with saving the kidnapped people, apparently Orochi kept his word. The only thing we have to go on here is that Shinobu throws in a line that says, you know, in between the dances, Odin would travel from region to region every single week to make sure everything was okay, or to make sure Orochi kept his word. That, I guess, makes a little sense, but not really, because Wano has, like, a lot of citizens. Like, Wano's a big place. There's a lot of regions, okay? So, like, Odin dances, and of course there's no way to immediately check to see if Orochi kept his word. So Odin's like, all right, I will now travel from region to region to make sure if anybody is kidnapped. But like, it's so big, like, are you gonna check on every single household in Wano every single week, Odin? Like, and Orochi could always just do it under cover of night, and he could also threaten people to be like, you know, don't tell anyone that they went missing. Because Orochi holds all the cards. He has all the power. He has Kaido. You know, he could literally kidnap an entire family in the Ringo region, and he said, if anybody comes around and asks any questions, they never existed. Do you want to bring down the wrath of the dragon duck god? No, Lord Orochi, we don't. We won't tell anybody. And then Odin comes around and is like, hey, is everything good? Everything good in this neck of the woods? Everybody okay? It's like, oh, yes, Lord Idiot Odin. We're fine. We're all good here. Yes. I mean, like, I don't think Odin could double check on every single household in Wano every single week and keep a tally to make sure no one disappeared. I mean, 100 people going missing every week, kind of a drop in the bucket when you're talking about the population of like a land as big as Wano. We don't know how many people lived in Wano, but probably thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Remember, Fishman Island was in the millions. Okay, and Fishman Island was way smaller than Wano, and they had a population in the millions. So, I don't know how many people live in Wano, but 5 regions, pretty big place. I would imagine it's probably in the millions, too. So, 100 people going missing every week. I don't know how you would be able to double check all that. But anyway, I think, by the way, yeah, I think Orochi went back on his word there too. And he also went back on his word, you know, with the shipbuilding and stuff, because Odin asks him, oh, are you good with the ships now? And Orochi's like, what are you talking about? And so obviously he went back on his word there, so he didn't keep it. And so the chapter ends with Shinobu just shouting to everybody and just be like, that's the idiot lord. You're the idiot lord. You know, because Odin saved all of your lives. Everyone would be way worse off if it wasn't for him. And then so that's where the chapter ends, you know, with you know, him still holding up the plank. And I'm guessing only like 5 minutes have passed. We only had 4 minutes when Shinobu went off on her tirade, and that was like, you know, like 5-6 minutes have passed. So yeah, flashback is still going on. I know a lot of people thought this was going to be the last chapter, but no, we're moving this along. And considering we literally had only like, you know, 4 minutes passed in this chapter, next chapter, I don't know how Oda's going to do this, but I'm sure, okay, next chapter, it's going to be called The Hour of Legends. I guarantee it. The title of the next chapter is going to be The Hour of Legends. I'm calling that now. But yeah, so this is the true hour, and we're probably just going to it's going to be painful, guys. I can feel it now. I can feel the next chapter, it's going to be like 10 minutes have passed, and Odin is already like, his body is starting to like shrivel up. 25 minutes have passed, and it's like, his like eyes are bloodshot and bleeding, and like 42 minutes have passed, and it's like, he's like a skeleton at this point, all dried out. And he's still holding on, though. And they're like, how is he still holding on? And I think the people of Wano are going to go from, like, you know, excitement to boredom for some reason to like really kind of beginning to cheer Odin on. I think that's like eventually, and plus with Shinobu's encouraging, I think Shinobu's going to have to bail after this because the Oniwabon know that she's there. They're going to go after her. So Shinobu's going to have to duck out. But I'm sure all the citizens are going to like think about what Odin actually did and then find out how much of a scum Orochi is. And then they're going to start to cheer for Odin. They're going to be like, yeah, Odin, you can do it, buddy. You can do it. Only 32 more minutes to go. Oh my God. You can do it, Odin. Only 15 more minutes. 8 more minutes. It's going to be like the ball dropping at Times Square. It's going to be like, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And like at that moment, the last possible second, you know Orochi is going to do some crap. Orochi is going to pull out a rifle or something, or he's going to be like, oh, that's, drop the giant lid! And the lid just crashes down on the cauldron, or Kaido just, there's going to be some dirty trick that's going to happen. Obviously, the scabbards managed to escape, but Odin, we have no idea. At this point, he managed to survive, 4 minutes in boiling oil. I mean, that's already well beyond human limits, so an hour, I could see Odin doing that, but I could also see Orochi pulling something at the last minute. Like, let's say he does survive the hour. The hour goes by, and Odin's like, yeah, we did it, and then he, like, pushes the plank off of the cauldron, and all the scabbards land on the ground safely, and he's like, ugh, all right, Orochi, now, and then, Orochi just takes out the gun or does something else. But yeah, if you're squeamish, probably next chapter is not going to be for you, because I think we're going to see Odin's body go through so many horrible, like, transformations in this oil. It's going to be really rough to see. There's going to be a lot of blood, maybe a few other bodily fluids. I don't know. But, yeah. I mean, hey, meantime, while this is all going on, I mean, they do have a giant pot of oil. Maybe someone could throw some vegetables in there, too. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, it's going to be an hour. They got to wait. I was like, oh, my God, Odin is... Hold on a second. I'm actually going to deep fry some vegetables here. Well, I'm just going to wait here. Okay. But, yeah. So... I figured it was going to be a good reason why Odin was dancing. It was some deal that Orochi made, and I figured it was probably going to be something like this, like, I promise to save the citizens if you dance. But it's like, how can you really double check all that? I mean, I guess not just Odin. Well, no, because I was going to say Odin told the scabbards to go and check as well, like 10 of them checking the country if anybody got kidnapped. But once again, like, he didn't tell the scabbards the reason he was dancing. It's like Odin took this all on himself. So, I have no idea how he could double check to make sure if all the citizens were still where they're supposed to be or whatever. And of course, they could have always went back on, or you know what he could do, honestly? This might even be worse. Orochi could have been, like, keeping track of how many dances Odin did, and Orochi maybe really did keep his word, and he's like, all right, that's 100 for this week, that's 100 for this week. So that's, 5 years, 52 weeks in a year. Oh, God, I gotta do math. Okay, hold on. All right, so, calculator. Hold on, I'm not even gonna bother trying to do this. All right, 52 weeks in a year. Let's just assume One Piece years are the same. 52 times 5. All right, hold on. Okay, that's 260. All right, that's 260 weeks in 5 years. One dance a week, 100. So 260 by 100 is... that's 26,000. That's 26,000 people Odin saved. Okay. Wouldn't it be crazy if after Odin dies, if he does die here, Orochi's just like, all right, round up 26,000 people. He could do that. He has the power to. All right. So he could literally all those people you thought you saved, you didn't. I was keeping records. 26,000. Actually, you know what? Let's just round it up. 30,000 people. Save them, throw them all into Onigashima. It'll have a good old fashioned party. All right, well, I'm excited to see where this is going to go. I have no idea how much the flashback's going to, I would assume maybe next or the chapter after that, but yeah, no break next week, so we're going to continue on there. Orochi and Kaido, at least Kaido kind of gave him a fighting chance. Orochi just, he's Orochi. So, yeah, and I'm liking Shinobu. Shinobu got some action here. I would like to touch upon that later on in the story, the Shinobu that we know now, considering how she stood up for Odin and everybody there, and she was the one that kind of started the hype, because people started, like, during the hour Tower of Legends, they kind of went back to Odin's side, and Shinobu was the one that, like, kind of the impetus for that. So I would love for that to be touched upon later in the present storyline, that Shinobu was the one that did all that. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking101 signing out. The clock is counting down. Tick, 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 tick. Tick-tock. Many of you might have noticed, I don't know if it was in the last video or the one before that, the last review, my microphone had this weird, like, in the background. I try to, like, minimize it as much as possible, but I just couldn't do it, and that sucked. And I'm like, this is an expensive microphone. I'm like, so today, I was, like, messing with my camera, like, all the settings and everything, like, what is making that damn sound? I'm like, you know, unplugging the microphone, doing all the settings, trying all these different things. I'm turning the lights off. I'm like, are my lights, like, putting out this weird, like, sound? And, I finally find out that the reason what was making the sound, after like 8 different attempts at figuring this out, that I had my camera plugged in. And I guess whenever you plug this camera in, it, you know, when it's charging, it makes that sound, and that gets picked up by the microphone. So hopefully it's fine now. Hopefully it's good, because this is a Rode microphone. This is a pretty good microphone. So I was like, what is making that sound? But anyway, yeah. That's random stories and technical support with Tekking and Barry. Hope you guys had a good night. I'm gonna go and chug this grapeseed oil now. Have a good one, everybody. Tekking signing out. In honor of Lord Odin!